Are you eating well, exercising, and still losing muscle as you age? What if the secret to reversing muscle loss, sarcopenia, isn't more fish or a miracle drug, but something far more accessible, something on your plate already? Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we grow older, our muscles naturally decline. This isn't just about strength or vanity. Losing muscle affects your metabolism, your resilience to illness, your energy, and even how long and how well you age. Sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle mass and function, is a root cause driver of frailty, insulin resistance, slower recovery, and a host of age-related chronic issues. Many people associate muscle building with protein-rich foods like fish or with expensive supplements. But what if I told you there's a different kind of food, one most of us overlook, that can powerfully preserve and build muscle, naturally combating sarcopenia? It's not just about getting more protein, it's about the right kind of protein, leveraged in the right metabolic context, with a few smart lifestyle tweaks. In today's talk, I'll unpack 6 science-backed insights that demystify how muscles deteriorate, why conventional wisdom may be missing the mark, and what you can do right now to reclaim strength and longevity. We'll dive into how essential amino acids like leucine trigger muscle synthesis, how your hormone environment like insulin and mTOR either supports or sabotages muscle growth, and why nutrients such as vitamin D or HMB matter. You'll learn specific, actionable protocols, when and how to eat, what combinations work best, and even how supplements can play a role without replacing good food. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what food to prioritize, how to time your meals, and what targeted lifestyle habits can help you build muscle naturally without relying on fish or fad fixes. If this is helpful so far, tap the like button below and consider subscribing. I post content like this every week, grounded in functional medicine and real science. Here's what's really going on inside your body when it comes to plant protein and muscle building. Not all proteins are created equal. The secret weapon for building and preserving muscle, especially as you age, is leucine, a branched-chain amino acid that acts like a switch to turn on muscle protein synthesis. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your muscle-building machinery like a factory. Leucine is the foreman who walks in, presses the start button, and tells all the workers, your ribosomes, to begin assembling muscle proteins. Without enough leucine, even if you have other workers and raw materials, the factory doesn't run at full capacity. Here's the science. Animal-based proteins like dairy and meat tend to have high percentages of leucine, often 10% or more of their amino acid content. Plant proteins usually fall a bit lower, around 6–8% leucine. That's why people often assume animal proteins are necessary for optimal muscle growth, but it's not that simple. Recent research is challenging that belief. In a controlled study, scientists compared a novel blend of plant-based proteins, pea, corn, wheat, etc., with a version of the same blend but with added leucine and with whey protein. What they found was compelling. The plant protein blend with extra leucine triggered just as much muscle protein synthesis, MPS, as whey. That means with the right composition, and crucially, with enough leucine, plant proteins can be as effective for muscle building as traditional animal proteins. So why didn't the plain plant blend match whey? Because without the leucine boost, it did not hit the threshold that the muscle building machinery requires. That's the key point. It's not just about total protein. The specific amino acid profile, especially leucine, determines whether your body will send the build signal. Behavioral solutions and tools: blend your plant proteins smartly. Use a combination of legumes like lentils or peas, grains like corn or rice, and nut seeds to maximize not just total protein, but also leucine. If you use plant-based protein powders, pick a blend rather than a single source isolate. Consider leucine supplementation when needed. If your meals are plant-based, but you struggle to reach the leucine threshold, roughly 2.5 to 3 GABA leucine in a serving, adding a small leucine supplement, or leucine-rich freeform. Leucine can help replicate the signal strength of animal protein, especially useful if you're older or building muscle recovery protocols. Use timing to your advantage. After resistance training, consume a leucine-rich plant protein plus leucine, if needed, within a 30 to 60-minute window. This helps capitalize on the anabolic window when your muscles are most receptive to the growth signal. Spread protein's leucine intake across meals rather than dumping all protein in one big meal. Divide it so each meal hits a leucine threshold. Monitor progress and adjust. If you're not gaining muscle or preserving it despite a high-protein plant-based diet, adjust your leucine intake first. Consider pairing your diet with strength training and other muscle support strategies. We'll cover more later. If this is helpful so far, tap the like button below and consider subscribing. I post content like this every week, focused on science-based natural health solutions. Here's what's really going on inside your body when it comes to hormones and muscle building. Eating protein alone isn't enough. Your hormones, especially insulin, IGF-1, and the mTOR pathway, act like traffic lights and managers, directing when your muscle-building machinery should start or stop. If the signals are off, the raw materials you eat don't get used efficiently. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body as a construction site. Protein provides the bricks, leucine is the foreman, but hormones are the traffic signals and site managers. Insulin tells trucks to deliver bricks to the right place. mTOR acts like the construction supervisor, giving the go-ahead for assembly, and IGF-1 ensures the workers multiply when needed. If insulin is chronically high due to sugar spikes, or if IGF-1 is low because of poor sleep or nutrient deficiencies, the workers are idle. Your muscles stagnate, even with adequate protein. What the research shows is that intermittent spikes in insulin, particularly when paired with amino acids like leucine, are beneficial for muscle growth. That is why timing matters. A meal with protein and a small amount of carbohydrates post-exercise maximizes the hormonal signal, turning on mTOR and accelerating muscle repair. On the other hand, chronic overconsumption of sugars or processed carbs leads to insulin resistance, which dampens the signal and promotes muscle breakdown over time. Here sets how to harness this in daily life. Pair protein with the right carbs strategically. Post-workout, combine plant protein with a moderate amount of low glycemic carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, oats, or berries. This triggers a beneficial insulin response that enhances amino acid uptake. Avoid refined sugars at other times to prevent insulin resistance that undermines muscle signaling. Optimize hormone-supported nutrients. Adequate vitamin D, magnesium, and zinc play crucial roles in IGF-1 production and mTOR activity. Include leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, mushrooms, and fortified foods to support these pathways. Time meals around activity. Morning resistance or mobility training followed by leucine-rich plant protein plus carbs enhances the hormonal signal for muscle growth. Spreading protein intake evenly across meals ensures repeated hormonal stimulation of mTOR throughout the day. Support hormones with lifestyle, quality sleep, stress management, and avoiding chronic overtraining all keep insulin and IGF-1 levels balanced. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which can override muscle-building signals, breaking down rather than building tissue. By understanding the traffic light system of your body, you can make your meals and habits work with your hormones, not against them. Even plant-based diets can fully support muscle building if the hormonal context is right. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, is often not just about protein intake or exercise. One of the key overlooked drivers is your metabolic health, particularly the liver. The liver is central to nutrient processing, energy regulation, and hormone balance. When it is stressed, often due to fat accumulation, chronic inflammation, or insulin resistance, it cannot effectively support muscle maintenance. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Think of your liver as the command center of a city. It manages energy distribution, sends instructions to factories, and controls waste removal. If the command center is overwhelmed, the factories, in this case your muscles, get fewer resources, and their productivity drops. Even with adequate nutrition, the signals for muscle repair and growth are muted. What the research shows is striking. Individuals with fatty liver or insulin resistance often experience accelerated muscle loss, independent of age or exercise level. Insulin resistance disrupts the normal anabolic signaling needed to preserve muscle tissue. At the same time, chronic low-grade inflammation releases catabolic cytokines that actively degrade muscle proteins. This is why some people can eat enough protein yet still experience wasting muscle and declining strength. Muscle loss is therefore not just a symptom, it is a signal of deeper metabolic dysfunction. Restoring liver health, improving insulin sensitivity, and reducing systemic inflammation are root cause strategies that ultimately protect and even rebuild muscle mass. Addressing this metabolic context explains why simply consuming more fish or protein is insufficient for many people. It's not just about giving your muscles materials, it's about restoring the environment in which those materials can be used effectively. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Muscle protein synthesis is highly sensitive not just to what you eat, but also when and how nutrients are delivered. Your body does not treat all meals equally. There are windows when muscles are most receptive to growth signals and other times when nutrients are stored or even contribute to fat accumulation. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your muscles as a sponge. Immediately after resistance exercise or physical stress, the sponge is dry and ready to absorb water. If you pour in the right liquid, amino acids, leucine, and supportive nutrients, the sponge swells and fills, enabling growth. Pour the same liquid hours later, and absorption is less efficient. Some spills over into storage areas like fat tissue. Research demonstrates that distributing protein intake evenly across the day rather than consuming most protein in a single meal enhances muscle protein synthesis. Likewise, pairing protein with certain carbohydrates can amplify insulin's role in nutrient delivery without causing resistance. Some antioxidants and micronutrients also interact with these pathways, protecting muscle from oxidative stress and enhancing repair. This explains why conventional advice, just eat more protein, often falls short. It is not only about the quantity, but about creating the metabolic context that allows your muscles to use these nutrients efficiently. By respecting the timing and combination of nutrients, your body maximizes growth, repair, and long-term resilience against sarcopenia. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Building and maintaining muscle is not just a matter of protein and exercise. Key micronutrients act like catalysts in the chemical reactions that repair and grow muscle tissue. Without them, your body struggles to convert raw materials into functional muscle. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of muscle building as baking a cake. Protein is the flour, amino acids are the eggs, and the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, are the baking powder and heat. Without them, the cake never rises properly, no matter how much flour you use. What the research shows is clear. Vitamin D, magnesium, and HMB, beta-hydroxy-beta-methylbutyrate, each play distinct roles in muscle health. Vitamin D influences muscle cell growth and strength, magnesium supports energy production in muscle fibers, and HMB reduces muscle protein breakdown. Inadequate levels of these micronutrients are associated with accelerated muscle loss and decreased strength, especially in older adults. Muscle preservation and growth are therefore not just about total calories or protein intake. They depend on the availability of these essential cofactors which support enzymatic reactions, hormonal signaling, and cellular energy production. Without them, your muscle-building machinery cannot function at full capacity, even if other conditions like exercise and leucine intake are optimized. Understanding the role of micronutrients reframes muscle loss from an inevitable part of aging into a preventable metabolic problem. These small but critical elements ensure that the signals from protein, hormones, and exercise translate into real, functional muscle gains, helping your body resist sarcopenia and maintain strength and independence over time. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Muscle growth and maintenance are not dictated solely by diet or supplements. Your lifestyle, sleep patterns, daily activity, stress levels, and circadian rhythm profoundly influences whether your muscles thrive or shrink over time. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your muscle building system as a high-performance engine. Protein, leucine, and micronutrients are the fuel, and exercise is the spark. But without proper maintenance, consistent rest, balanced stress, and rhythmic cycles, the engine cannot run efficiently. Over time, neglecting these factors causes wear and tear, reduces performance, and accelerates deterioration. What the research shows is striking. Sleep deprivation alone significantly reduces muscle protein synthesis, impairs insulin sensitivity, and elevates catabolic hormones like cortisol, which actively break down muscle tissue. Chronic stress similarly elevates cortisol, creating a hormonal environment that opposes growth. Conversely, regular, well-timed resistance training, adequate rest, and attention to circadian rhythms enhance hormone balance, optimize mTOR signaling, and improve nutrient utilization. Lifestyle is therefore a multiplier. Even the best diet cannot fully compensate for poor sleep or chronic stress. Conversely, optimizing lifestyle factors amplifies the effects of nutrition, hormones, and exercise, creating a fertile environment for muscle preservation and growth. Addressing these elements together forms a holistic strategy targeting the root causes of sarcopenia rather than just its symptoms. Over the course of this discussion, we have unpacked what truly drives muscle preservation and growth, especially as we age. We started with a surprising truth that it is not just fish or animal protein that builds muscle. Plant-based proteins, when optimized for leucine content, can effectively activate the body's muscle-building machinery. We explored how hormonal signaling, insulin, IGF-1, and mTOR acts as the traffic system directing nutrients to muscles, and why timing and nutrient combinations matter just as much as the foods themselves. We also looked deeper beyond meals to the metabolic roots of muscle loss. Fatty liver, insulin resistance, and chronic inflammation create a hostile environment for muscle repair, explaining why some people lose strength despite adequate protein intake. Micronutrients like vitamin D, magnesium, and HMB act as catalysts, ensuring your muscle-building machinery works efficiently. And finally, lifestyle factors, sleep, stress, and circadian rhythm amplify or undermine all of these processes. Together, these elements reveal that sarcopenia is not inevitable. It is a metabolic problem that can be addressed systematically, naturally, and sustainably. What this means in practice is simple. Building and preserving muscle is about creating the right environment, not relying on a single miracle food or supplement. It is about combining nutrient quality, timing, hormonal optimization, metabolic health, and lifestyle alignment. Each of these pillars strengthens the others, producing a synergy that sustains muscle, energy, and vitality well into older age. So here is your challenge. Try just one of these strategies today. Perhaps you adjust your protein distribution to hit the leucine threshold, or focus on improving sleep and reducing stress to optimize hormone signaling. Monitor how your body responds. Small, consistent adjustments compound over time, producing meaningful, lasting results. If this added value, like the video and subscribe to join others optimizing their health naturally. By understanding the root causes, respecting your metabolic context, and leveraging natural strategies, you can reclaim muscle, preserve independence, and age with strength, energy, and resilience. The power to change your trajectory is on your plate and in your daily habits.